Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, Mr. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, agrees to discuss territory with Putin in direct contact. That's a good thing. That's the first topic of this video. The second one, Donald Trump stated that he will make a decision on Ukraine in 2 weeks. Now, I don't know if it's in 2 weeks or within 2 weeks. That means right after 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, we're going to find out. And the third topic that I have here is Trump tells Ukraine that Ukraine must accept Russia's terms to end the war. These three topics we'll discuss this morning, but before I get into each of these subjects and reports, I have to tell you that this sounds to me as the moonwalk, Michael Jackson's moonwalk, even though he didn't invent it, but you know, I'm talking about the peace process. It seems like they're moving forward. I think it's an illusion. They're actually moving backward with the illusion of moving forward. Please pay attention to what has been done, not the statements. The statements are the illusion that you're going forward, but actually, you're moving backwards. This is how it seems to me so far. Well, there are certain attempts to move forward, but I think it's still an illusion. I think one step forward, two backwards. So let's see what's changed Zelensky's stance on territory negotiations with Putin. This is according to Russia Today. So you may say, oh my God, no, this is a lie. But that's not the only article I have here. The 23rd of August 2025, Zelensky ready to discuss territory with Putin. According to Kiev, Moscow has not ruled out direct talks, but said it must be preceded by serious diplomatic groundwork. So the Russians, as I would say normally, or in any normal adult will do, is prepare the meeting between the two guys. It's not going to be the two guys in a room saying, yes, we're going to do this. They get out of the room and then tell the little minions, you know what, you go over there and you put that on the paper and we're going to sign it right now on the spot in front of the media. That's not how it works. Therefore, if you hear the media operatives in the West saying that, oh my God, the Russians are dragging their feet, they're just misinform you, actually disinform you, because they must know clearly the process, and that is the process. There's discussions, reach a consensus, reach a conclusion, agree to these topics, we're gonna sign up these papers, but we're gonna meet there, they're gonna sign the paper already prepared by their diplomatic groundwork. So let's see how open Vladimir Zelensky is to discuss territories with Russia. Ukraine is ready to discuss its territorial dispute with Russia at direct talks between Vladimir Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, a senior Ukrainian foreign ministry official has said, adding that the current front line should be the starting point for the negotiations. The Russians say that they agreed to freeze the front as it is. No more territory you give me or I take, and that's it. Now, I don't know if that's a concession from the Russians, but the Russians keep advancing, so could sound like one. In an interview with NBC News on Friday, Ukraine's first deputy foreign minister Sergei Kislitsa reiterated that the country's population, and I'm quoting, is categorically against trading our land for peace. Please keep this in mind. So the country's population is categorically against trading our land for peace. Why? Because I'm going to use the next article which says this. According to the New Voice of Ukraine, in the same day, August 23rd, and I'm quoting, in line with law and public opinion, Ukraine says Zelensky is ready to discuss territory with Putin. But what did they say here? Is category against trading our land for peace. And I'm quoting, I think President Zelensky made it very clear he's ready to sit down with President Putin and discuss it. And the beginning of the conversations on the territorial issue is the contact line that is currently there. Well, while publicly the Ukrainian leader has rejected the idea of any territorial concessions to Russia, several media reports claimed that he could agree to freeze the current front lines as part of possible settlement. What does that mean, freeze it to the current front lines? I'm taking my time. I'm going to wait for another opportunity to get it. That's what it is when they say they freeze it right now. What's coming next, we'll find out. I don't know, maybe the whole Ukraine will, join Russia. But the point of the second article here is, in line with public opinion, Ukraine says Zelensky ready to discuss. Well, public opinion is because maybe they think that Zelensky will get from Putin the Donbass and the Crimean Peninsula. Is that what it is? They're against giving the Russians, but not against negotiating with the Russians in order to get back their territory, probably. So, and this is obviously the statement from an individual who has authority, is a legitimate guy. Here, let me show you. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is willing to discuss territorial issues with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin during a bilateral meeting. And that's the same thing the guy right here said. All right. He stressed that when it comes to Ukrainian territory, the president follows existing Ukrainian legislation and public sentiment, which remains firmly opposed to any exchange of land. So then what is to be talked about? And now let me throw this out here. Do you think that there's any possibility that the Russians, Putin would say, you know what, right now, yeah, man, we made a mistake, and we're going to give you, during our negotiations, I don't know if that sounds like a negotiations, we're going to give you back Luhansk, Donetsk, part of Zaporozhye, Kherson, and the Crimean Peninsula right now. We're going to give it, but then what will you give us? Oh, you say nothing? Oh, so you can join NATO whenever you want because it's your right? Oh, okay. And you can have NATO troops in Ukraine after we give you all this? Okay. And we're going to give you reparations, like about $750 billion as the World Bank estimated, or International Monetary Fund, I think it was World Bank. And then Putin, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to go to the Gallup polls and myself. And what else? We're going to allow your boys that are in charge of you be in charge of the Russian people too. And we're going to give you our resources, natural resources too, so you can use it for your whatever. And we're going to give you all our nuclear arsenal as well in the meantime. And what else? We're going to change our traditions, culture to fit the Brussels imbecility and Washington. So is this possible? I don't think the Russians want that. So this is an imbecilic proposition. And then in the meantime, what are we going to do with the Russian-speaking population from the territories we're going to give it to you? I'm talking about Donbass and Crimea and so on. Are you going to come back and you just going to go and caress them? Or are you going to go in the middle of the night or during the day with your black vans and get those people out for collaborating with the enemy? And you're going to shoot them in the back of the head? Like your commissars killed in Katyn forest the Polish intelligentsia? You don't think so? Well, I suggest you look at Solzhenitsyn Gulag Archipelago. So, it's not going to happen. Russia will not give anything back from what it got. It's going to give small portions from Sumy, maybe from Kharkiv, a little bit that they got over there, and that will be about it. And the freezing meaning, we talk about it later. So that's the first one. Let's see what Trump says about it. This big Michael Jackson moonwalk process. Trump to decide on Ukraine in 2 weeks. Sanctions, tariffs, or nothing on the table. Now, Trump is going to make, again, I would say, some childish statements. He thinks that he's very unpredictable when he says this, but he makes like this. He makes statements like this. I will go to Canada tomorrow. I might not go. Why do you even bother to tell me that? I could give you $1. I will give you $1, but I might not give you $1. Why are you talking then? So let's read these guys' statements here. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he will announce a decision on the situation in Ukraine in 2 weeks, which may include sanctions, tariffs, both or nothing. No shit, thank you very much. So it's like he's gonna give you a big news, you know. I will be alive maybe tomorrow, next day. So let's say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and maybe on next Monday as well. This is so, anyway, baboonish. And I'm quoting Donald Trump. I'm so ecstatic. Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do. Or it's going to be a very important decision. Now he's just because everything he does is fantastic. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say, it's your fight? Trump told reporters at the Oval Office. So it's your fight. Okay, if it's your fight, that means you're going to pull away. And I don't think it's their fight. I think it's the interests harnessing the United States of America's fight, using the Ukrainians, using the Americans, using the Western world to conquer more territory economically, let's put it, and military as well, because they're going to bring their enforcing arm, NATO, into this game. Those who think the potential meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky could result in nothing without attendance of U.S. President Donald Trump may be right or may be wrong. Did you hear that again? Yes or no? And I wanted to have a meeting with those two, Putin and Zelensky. I could have been at the meeting, but had a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Jesus Christ, man. Imagine this guy. So he's going to decide in 2 weeks what he's going to do. Well, we're going to wait, right? We're going to be right here and tell you. And then we're going to the new voice of Ukraine. And Trump tells the Ukrainians, you must accept Russia's terms to end the war. And I'm going to show you the front page of New Voice of Ukraine because they add a little bit of flavor to the article. Putin's favorite negotiator. You see how they mock him right now? As if Trump is just Putin's guy. Putin's favorite negotiator / Trump says Ukraine must accept Russia's terms to end the war. And let's see what he says. Trump says Ukraine must accept Russian terms. Remember, terms. I don't like this handshake at all. I mean, if you analyze it, this is the guy in charge over the other guy. The other guy, besides the fact that the guy who extends the arm like this looks like a boy in any handshake. I mean, it's not me, it's just studies. Go and read about it if you don't know. So here again, I'm the subordinate. 1, the posture. 2, the position of the who's on top of whom. Okay, that's a big signal over there. U.S. President Donald Trump believes Ukraine will ultimately have to agree to a deal largely on Russia's terms to end the war, Politico reported on August 22nd, citing a senior White House official. And I'm quoting. Trump continues to assure his allies that negotiations remain on track. The official said. However, according to another source, there is growing recognition that the talks, which Trump had publicly predicted, will culminate in a growing However, according to the source, there is growing recognition that the talks, which Trump had publicly predicted, would culminate in a trilateral summit within a week, progressing slowly and with difficulty. And I'm quoting, as long as Trump believes that talks are ongoing, he sees that as a good sign. Another White House source told Politico that Trump and his national security team continued to work with Russian and Ukrainian officials to organize a bilateral meeting. At the same time, the White House declined to comment on the Kremlin's apparent evasion of a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. According to three individual familiars with Trump's thinking, the US president remains reluctant to pressure Vladimir Putin, convinced that he holds more leverage over Ukraine and America's European allies. And I'm quoting, he's long believed that Russia holds the upper hand, you see that handshake, in the war and needs to be nudged towards peace talks. Ukraine, meanwhile, relies heavily on the US for weapons and intelligence, so there are more pressure points to push them into a deal. That's correct, a former Trump administration official explained. Previously, Trump has stated that his possible participation, we already know that one, and must accept. Well, when you meet someone to deal, to negotiate, you look at what you can do, your potential, and you look at the other side's potential. Then you look at the reality, where we are, not only the potential, the reality. Potential is in the future, and whatever you have, you could potentially do this. And to the reality. And then you analyze and you say, okay, I will make a few plans when I meet this guy. And you say 3 plans. According to this, I will try to do this, I'll try to do this. It doesn't work, I'm going to try to do this. But then, if the other guy knows those, because, he's going to block them. And based on your possibilities, on your potential and the reality, you have to divert from one plan to another, maybe come back to the same plan later in the conversation, if you can. The reality is, the Russian economy did not collapse. The political environment in Russia is not how should I put it, we're going to have a revolution or something. The military doesn't, stays loyal. Then what do you have? The media is what it is. So economically, you can't destroy them. Financially, you can't destroy them as of now. You tried for at least 3.5 years straight on with the sanctions and all that. Militarily, you do not destroy them. Politically, you can't make them. An uprising in Russia seems unlikely. So what can you do? So this is the reality. In Ukraine, the Russians are still advancing slowly, but they are. So what can you do? You can push the acceleration of your potential, but they will have negative consequences for your countries. What are they going to do? So, on the other hand, Ukraine depends in its entirety. It depends on the outside support. So, and mainly by United States of America's support. So if the US has 99% of the cards with Ukraine, has 1%, let's say, of the cards with Russia. So yeah, you try that 1%, but it's futile right now to even try to go to the 99% on Russia, which you have been trying head on for more than 3.5 years. They tried before, but 3.5 years they found an justification to impose all these sanctions and do everything like in front of everybody else. So of course you're going to try to convince and to pressure what you can control. The other side, You do how much you can, and this is how much they can do as of now. So thank you very much for being with me again today. Trump with Zelensky with Putin, I don't think they will meet. I don't think Putin will meet just to wave at the cameras and that. I don't think so. I think that they have to discuss it. I don't think it's going to be a discussion like, hey, we're going to give you this, you're going to give me this. It's very complicated because definitely one side here must say, I lost. And neither side wants to, and Russia is not on the losing side as of now. So it's the other one. So when the Americans will save face by saying we're out, as Trump says, it's your war, it's your fight, which actually it's not true. It's NATO's fight. It's the interest behind NATO, behind the United States of America, who actually pushed all this and cornered everything in such a way that they have this big conflict where Russia is the aggressor. When they will be willing, and when they will be willing to say we lost, and the Russians will let them walk away and get the victory, but not against the United States of America, but against Ukraine. That's how it's going to be portrayed. Ukraine lost, but not really lost, because, they're not going to portray it as NATO lost, American side lost, or the US lost. No, they're not going to portray it. And the Russians will play ball, like they play with a moon landing. Okay, yeah. You didn't lose. Yeah, you landed. That's fine. We keep, all right, well, let's go. I think that's the same thing is going to happen here. Or the other side will say we're going to keep going. But we have to see how much the baboons in our countries will put up with this and how much more the media operatives are capable to influence the baboons' little nuts that they have in their skulls in supporting this idiocracy. Supporting it at the expense of their lives, their kids, their children's lives, their future generations' well-being. That's what it is. They have to convince these imbeciles that it's superior to give their lives and their children's future for something they make sound virtuous, fantastic. This is the whole thing. That's why the media says, oh, evil, we have to stop evil, we're the good guys. So you can't talk this, you can't talk about this, you have to keep your mouth shut, go and work, more taxes, more invasion, more money over there, and your kid's going to have a not so bright future. But hey, you're doing a good thing. Pat you over your head, get some piece of sugar, give it to the baboon, send him to work. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.